At my dad's retirement party, my sister said, "Don't try to compete with me," and mocked me as my dad's retirement party was held in the private room of a waterfront restaurant that liked to call itself casual fine dining. That was how my sister Lauren explained it when she booked it. Casual enough for family, polished enough for photos. When I arrived, the hostess led me past a line of low tables with small candles, the kind that make everyone's skin look smoother than it is. Through the glass doors, I could already hear Lauren's voice, bright and practiced, rising above the rest. It wasn't loud in an angry way. It was loud in a "I'm hosting a segment" way. Dad deserved a room full of people. 32 years at the same transit authority, he started as a junior engineer and ended as operations director. The kind of job where nothing makes the news unless something goes wrong. The kind of job where you prevent wrong things for decades and retire with strangers congratulating you because they rode trains that ran on time. I had brought a gift I thought he'd actually use, a leather-bound planner and a prepaid membership to the botanical garden he'd always said he'd visit when there's time. I also carried a slim folder in my tote. Nothing dramatic, just a few printed photos from Dad's early days, a copy of the retirement letter he'd framed at home but insisted wasn't a big deal, and the short speech I planned to give. I'd written it on my lunch breaks over the past week, then read it out loud in my car until it sounded like my own voice instead of something borrowed. I hadn't told anyone I was speaking. That was my mistake. Lauren spotted me immediately and glided over with her phone held high, already filming. "There she is," she said into the camera, smiling. "The mysterious one." She finally made it. Her phone angled slightly so my face filled the frame. I didn't like being recorded without warning, but I didn't step back. I just stood still and let her finish her little clip, like you let a child finish showing you a drawing. "Hi, Lauren," I said. She lowered the phone enough to look at me directly. The smile stayed. "Don't be stiff," she murmured, still sweet. "It's Dad's night. Try to look presentable." I was in a navy dress and low heels, hair pulled back, simple. Presentable in my family meant not pulling attention away from her. Lauren wore a cream jumpsuit with a satin belt that made sure everyone noticed her waist. Her makeup looked airbrushed, the kind done under bright lights. A gold chain bag hung from her shoulder like an award. The room was already arranged the way she liked, the biggest table in the center with Dad's seat facing the door so anyone entering could see him. Next to his seat was Lauren's place setting. On his other side, an empty chair. It took me a second to realize that empty chair was supposed to be mine, except the chair was barely pushed under the table. Its place card said my name, Maya, in Lauren's handwriting, but it was angled slightly away from Dad, closer to the aisle. It wasn't the main chair. It was the chair that would force me to twist my body while eating, the chair that would put me half out of every photo. Lauren saw me noticing. "Perfect, right?" she said, still in that polished voice. "Dad will be in the middle. I'll keep him entertained. You'll be right there." It's easy. It wasn't right there. It was in frame if necessary. Dad turned when he heard us, and his face softened in a way it always did when he saw me. He was already in his suit, the one he wore for court and weddings. He stood up, which made several people nearby stand too because he had that effect on rooms. He hugged me carefully, like he didn't want to wrinkle my dress. "You made it," he said. "Of course," I told him. "Happy retirement." He laughed like he still couldn't believe that word belonged to him. Lauren stepped in immediately. "Okay, hug shot," she announced. "Phone up again. Dad, hold her longer." Maya, smile, but not the tight smile you do when you're judging people. I looked into the camera and gave the mild smile I give to clients when they're angry about something that isn't my fault. Calm, neutral. Lauren rolled her eyes. "She's practicing for her corporate hostage negotiations," she joked, loud enough for the people around us to hear. "That's what she does, guys. She reads contracts and stares people into submission." A few laughed politely. A man I didn't recognize chuckled and said, "We could use her at work." Dad patted my shoulder. "Maya keeps things steady," he said, like it was a compliment, not a warning. Lauren's smile tightened for half a second. Then she recovered. "You're welcome," she said, as if Dad had thanked her. I moved away from the center and let the crowd settle back into their conversations. The room smelled like citrus and grilled fish, small place cards, printed menus with Dad's name at the top in a script font. Lauren had put his full name, including his middle initial, like he was a donor on a plaque. I found Mom near the bar table, adjusting a small floral arrangement that didn't need adjusting. Mom had been nervous all day. She texted me 3 times asking what time I was leaving, as if I might vanish. "You look nice," she said quickly. "Lauren did such a good job, didn't she?" "She did," I agreed, because it was true. Lauren was good at events the way some people are good at storms. Commanding, impressive, and destructive if you stood in the wrong place. Mom leaned in, lowering her voice. "Please don't let her get to you tonight." That was her version of safety advice. Not, "Don't let her do it." Not, "I'll intervene." Just, "Don't feel it." "I'm fine," I said. Mom looked like she wanted to say more, but then Lauren called across the room. "Mom, stop fussing with flowers. Come here. I need you." Mom left immediately. I watched her go the way you watch someone walk toward a ledge they've stepped off before. I found my seat and set my tote under the chair. My folder stayed inside. I wasn't planning a confrontation. I wasn't planning anything. I just wanted Dad to have a clean night. Lauren moved around the room like a director, tapping shoulders, pulling people toward the backdrop she'd set up. An arch of greenery with a sign that read, "Cheers to Retirement, Frank." She posed Dad under it with one hand on his elbow like she was presenting him to the world. People kept arriving, coworkers from different years. A few friends from the neighborhood. Dad's old supervisor, now gray, shaking his hand too long. Every introduction came with a Lauren add-on. "This is my dad, obviously," she'd say, then glance at me if I was nearby. "And yes, he has 2 daughters. One's the face, one's the paperwork." She said it like it was a cute division of labor. At one point, a woman from Dad's office approached me with a warm expression. "You must be Maya," she said. "Frank talks about you. Says you're the one who handles the hard stuff." I nodded. "I try to help when I can." The woman smiled. "He mentioned you were the one who helped him sort through the retirement documents. Benefits, pension options, all that." Lauren drifted close, like she was attracted to any conversation that didn't include her. "Oh, that?" she cut in, waving a hand. "Yes, Maya loves her forms. I had to stop her from turning Dad's retirement into a compliance seminar. I told her, 'This is emotional. Try not to compete with me.'" "There it was," delivered lightly, as if she was quoting herself for entertainment. The woman blinked. "Compete?" Lauren laughed and leaned in toward the woman like they were sharing a secret. She's always been intense about needing to be the useful one, the responsible one. It's her personality. She looked at me then, eyes bright. "Right, Maya?" I held her gaze and gave a small nod, like I hadn't understood the insult. "Sure," I said. Lauren's smile widened. "See? She's so controlled. It's almost scary." She turned to the woman again. "Anyway, Dad's night. No spreadsheets." The woman excused herself, her friendliness dimmed by discomfort. Lauren didn't notice. Or she did and didn't care. Dinner started with toasts. Lauren had planned a sequence. Dad's supervisor. Dad's best friend. A cousin. Lauren. Then open mic, which was a trap disguised as generosity. It meant she could choose who spoke and when by claiming the list was full. She gave her toast standing beside Dad, one hand on his shoulder, her other hand holding her phone because she was recording even then. She talked about sacrifices, about how Dad worked so hard to give us a beautiful life, and how she learned ambition from watching him. She mentioned her career twice without naming it directly, so it sounded mysterious and impressive. She said, "I hope one day I can make you as proud as you've made me," and paused for applause like she'd earned it. Dad's eyes shone. He was a simple man in certain ways. Praise still reached him like sunlight. When Lauren sat down, she leaned toward me. Her voice stayed soft, meant only for my ear. "Just so we're clear," she said, still smiling at the table like she was smiling at a camera, "don't try to compete with me tonight." I turned my head slightly. "I'm not competing." She made a small sound like she didn't believe me. "I'm serious," she said. "This is my event. I planned it. People are here because I organized everything. Don't make it weird with whatever you do." "Whatever I do?" I asked calmly. Lauren's eyes flicked to my tote under the chair. "You always have something," she said. "A document, a fact, a moment. You like to prove you're the smart one, but tonight, don't." Dad was laughing at something someone said across the table. The room was warm, bright, everyone focused on him, which was how it should be, Lauren continued. Low and sweet. If you get up there and try to make some heartfelt speech, it'll look desperate. like you're trying to outshine me. And you can't, so don't embarrass yourself. There was no anger in her tone. That was what made it land harder. She wasn't emotional. She was certain. I set my napkin on my lap, carefully smoothing it once. I didn't come to outshine anyone, I said. Lauren sipped her water. Good, she said. Because people expect things from me. This is how families work. Some of us carry the image. Some of us— Her eyes dropped again to my tote, as if my quiet preparation disgusted her. Do the background tasks. Then she leaned back in her chair, smile still fixed for whoever might glance our way, and lifted her phone again as Dad began opening gifts. She angled it so the camera caught Dad's face, her face, and just the corner of mine, cropped, incidental, like an object. And I watched quietly as she narrated my father's joy like it belonged to her. I didn't react. I didn't correct her. I didn't ask for room. I simply took note of what she'd said, the way she'd said it, and who was close enough to hear. Then I reached down, unzipped my tote, and felt the slim edge of my folder, still untouched, still waiting, before I closed the bag again and folded my hands in my lap. I stayed silent, because tonight wasn't the night to speak, but I could already tell Lauren was getting careless. And careless people always leave something behind. The party ended the way Lauren planned it to, slow, curated, and photographed from every angle that mattered to her. She made sure Dad stood near the arch one last time while people filtered out, hugging him and promising lunches they might or might not schedule. When the room finally thinned, she kept filming until the staff started stacking chairs. I stayed until Dad was tired enough to sit without apologizing for it. I walked into Mom's car and waited while he fussed with the seatbelt, still in that strange space between working man and retiree. "Thank you for coming," he said again, like I'd done him a favor by existing. "I wouldn't miss it," I said. Lauren hugged him dramatically, careful not to wrinkle her jumpsuit. "Best night ever," she said. "I'll send you the album tomorrow. There's already so much engagement." Dad smiled, not fully understanding what that meant, but trusting that it was good. I left without confronting her, without mentioning the chair placement or the comment or the way she'd narrated my presence into something decorative. Silence had weight. I let it sit. 2 days later, Dad called me mid-morning. "I got an email from the pension office," he said. "It says my distribution election was updated last week. I didn't change anything." I pulled my calendar closer, already opening the folder on my laptop labeled Retirement, Frank H. Reaver. I'd created it months ago when Dad asked me to just look over things. "What does it say changed?" I asked. "It lists Lauren as the primary contact," he said, "and the mailing address is hers now." I closed my eyes briefly. "Did you authorize that?" "No," he said. "I don't think so. She helped me upload some documents because the portal kept timing out. Maybe she clicked something by accident?" "Forward me the email," I said. "Don't reply to it yet." I hung up and waited. The email arrived a minute later. Automated, dated 3 days before the party. I logged into the portal using the credentials Dad had given me months earlier, the ones he never changed because remembering passwords annoyed him. The activity log was easy to find. It always is if you know where to look. Account access, successful. Device, iPhone 14 Pro. IP location, downtown Loft District. Lauren's building. I didn't screenshot immediately. I opened the change history first. Beneficiary information untouched, direct deposit unchanged, but the authorized representative field now listed Lauren, full legal name, email, phone number, added with a digital signature, time-stamped at 9:42 p.m. on a Tuesday. I knew where she'd been at 9:42 p.m. Tuesday. She'd posted a story that night, wine glass, skyline, captioned, "Client dinner, manifesting bigger rooms." I saved the activity log as a PDF. Then I exported the change history. Then I backed out and logged in again from a different browser, recorded the same information, and saved that too. Redundancy matters. I called Dad back. "Nothing is missing," I said, but she added herself as an authorized representative. That gives her access, not control. Yet, there was a pause. "I didn't ask her to do that," he said slowly. "I know," I said. "We'll fix it." "I don't want to upset her," he said. "I won't," I said. "This doesn't have to be emotional." That seemed to calm him. He trusted process more than conflict. That afternoon, I emailed the pension office from Dad's account, formally revoking the authorization and requesting a record of all changes made in the last 60 days. I CC'd my own email. Then I waited. Lauren didn't call me. She didn't text. Instead, she posted. A carousel of photos from the party appeared on her feed that evening. Dad laughing, Dad hugging her, Dad under the arch. The caption was long and polished, so proud of the man who taught me everything about leadership and sacrifice. Retirement looks good on you, Dad. On to the next chapter. I was in 2 photos, cropped. In one, my shoulder. In another, the side of my face blurred. Someone commented, "Beautiful family." Lauren replied, "So grateful, cub." Another commented, "Your sister looks just like you." Lauren replied with a laughing emoji. Genetics did something, I guess. I double-tapped nothing. 3 days passed before the pension office replied. They attached a document labeled "A Sexist Log," detailed. It was 14 pages long. I read it carefully, line by line, not looking for outrage, just patterns. Lauren had accessed the account 6 times in 2 weeks, each time from her phone. Each time late evening. She'd viewed benefit projections, survivor options, and payout schedules. She'd downloaded the tax withholding form twice. She hadn't changed anything else, yet. I saved the file, named it clearly, and stored it in 2 places. Then I called the pension office again and asked a neutral question. What actions an authorized representative could take without additional verification? The answer was specific and useful. They could request address changes, duplicate statements, and initiate, but not finalize, distribution changes. Finalization required a second factor sent to the primary account holder's phone or email. Lauren couldn't steal anything outright, but she could prepare. I didn't confront her. I waited. Over the next few weeks, Lauren became more generous with her commentary. At a family brunch, she told a cousin, "Dad's finances are kind of complex. I've been helping him streamline things. Maya likes to overcomplicate stuff." She said it while buttering toast, like it was a neutral fact. Another time she texted me directly. "Lauren, Dad asked me to help with some retirement paperwork. Just FYI so you don't duplicate." Me? Thanks for letting me know. Lauren, you're welcome. Also, try not to overwhelm him. He deserves peace now. I didn't respond to that. Instead, I logged every interaction. Dates, times, screenshots. I kept my tone flat and cooperative whenever she reached out. I never accused it. I never warned. People like Lauren mistake silence for surrender. They fill it with themselves. The real shift happened when Dad invited us both over one Saturday afternoon to look at some numbers. He spread papers across the dining table, statements, projections, notes he'd written in his careful block handwriting. Lauren arrived late, phone to her ear, apologizing loudly to someone named Evan about a deck revision. She sat beside Dad and immediately took charge, sliding papers into piles. "Okay," she said. "What are we worried about?" Dad looked at me. "I just want to make sure I won't outlive my savings," he said. Lauren laughed lightly. "Dad, please. You're not 80. I'd still like to see the numbers," he said. Lauren waved a hand. "I've seen them. He's fine. Plus, property values." I reached into my bag and pulled out my own folder. I didn't open it yet. "We can look together," I said. Lauren's eyes flicked to the folder. "You brought paperwork, yes," I said. She smiled tightly. "Of course you did." I laid out a single page, a conservative projection. No drama, just facts. Lauren leaned back. "You know," she said, "this is why people find you intimidating. You always need documentation. Trust is also a thing." Dad frowned. "I like documentation," he said. Lauren turned to him, surprised. "Dad, I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying there's more to life than spreadsheets." I watched her carefully. She was irritated, not angry. She'd expected deference. The conversation ended without resolution. Dad thanked us both. Lauren hugged him and whispered something in his ear that made him smile again. As she was leaving, she paused near the door and turned back to me. "You should loosen up," she said quietly. "You don't have to earn your place by being useful." "I'm not earning anything," I said. "I already have my place." She studied me for a second, then laughed like I'd made a joke she didn't understand. That night, I received an email notification. Subject: "Your retirement account statement is ready." It wasn't addressed to me. It was addressed to Dad, but it was sent to Lauren's email address, not his. I logged into the portal again. The mailing preferences had been updated. I didn't change them back immediately. I wanted to see what she'd do next. 2 days later, she did it. I received a forwarded email from Dad, confused and apologetic. Lauren sent me this and said it might be important. Can you take a look? Attached was a PDF, a draft distribution request form, not submitted, pre-filled. Lump sum option selected. Lauren's address listed as the destination for correspondence. Her phone number listed as the contact. Dad's signature line blank. I didn't call Lauren. I opened the metadata of the PDF. Created by L. Rivera. Creation date 11:18 p.m. Device iPhone, and below that, embedded in the file properties, a note she'd never intended anyone else to see. Dad won't notice details. Just need him to sign. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I saved everything. That was the receipt I'd been waiting for. Lauren didn't know I had the file. She didn't know I had the access logs, the timestamps, the forwarded emails, the metadata, or the pension office's written explanation of authorized representative limits. She thought she was being careful because she wasn't rushing. In the space she gave herself, she grew confident. That confidence showed up as generosity. 2 weeks after the draft form, Lauren announced she was hosting a family celebration for Dad's official retirement date. Not a party this time, something intimate but meaningful. She booked a private event room at the same restaurant chain, different location, newer build. She made a group chat titled Frank's Next Chapter and added extended family, 2 of Dad's former coworkers, and, importantly, his longtime financial advisor, Martin Keene. That way Dad doesn't have to answer the same questions over and over, she wrote. We'll just address everything once. Martin responded with a thumbs up. He'd been advising Dad since before Lauren finished college. He was careful, methodical, and deeply allergic to drama. Lauren had just handed me an audience with standards. I replied in the group chat once, happy to attend. Let me know if you need anything. She liked the message immediately. Over the next 10 days, she messaged me privately twice. Lauren, can you bring any docs Dad might need? Me, sure. Lauren, try not to overwhelm Martin. He's old school. I didn't respond to that part. Instead, I called Martin myself, not to accuse. To confirm, I just want to make sure we're aligned, I said. Have you received any distribution requests from Dad? There was a pause. No, he said. Why? No reason, I said. I'll see you next week. I spent the weekend preparing without theatrics. I printed only what was necessary. I labeled everything clearly. I put the originals in a sealed envelope and copies in a slim folder. I wrote a timeline on a single sheet of paper. Dates, actions, sources. No commentary. I also asked the pension office for one more thing. A written statement confirming that no finalized distribution had been submitted and that the draft file had originated from an authorized representative account, not Dad's. They sent it Monday morning. Lauren posted about the upcoming event daily. Table settings, menu tastings, a photo of a name card with Frank Rivera embossed in gold. She captioned one post, "So excited to celebrate the man who taught me responsibility. Couldn't have done this without family support." People commented heart emojis. Someone wrote, "You're such a good daughter." Lauren replied, "I try." Dad seemed pleased but tired. He called me the night before the event. "Lauren says Martin's going to help me make some decisions tomorrow," he said. "I thought we weren't doing that yet." "We're not finalizing anything," I said. "I'll be there." He hesitated. "You're not mad at her, are you?" "No," I said honestly. "I'm just paying attention." That seemed to satisfy him. The day of the event, I arrived early. The room was smaller than the first party, set with a single long table. Lauren had arranged the seating again, herself beside Dad, Martin across from them, Mom at the other end, and me 2 seats down. I didn't move my place card. Lauren greeted me with a kiss on the cheek, air-light. "Thank you for being supportive," she said, loud enough for others to hear. "This means a lot to Dad." "You're welcome," I said. She leaned in closer. "I know you like to control things. Just trust me today." I nodded once. People filtered in. Conversation stayed light. Lauren kept refilling Dad's water, touching his arm when she laughed. She looked like the picture of devotion. Halfway through the main course, she clinked her glass. "I just wanted to say something small," she said. "Dad's entering a new phase and it can be overwhelming. So I asked Martin to join us and answer any questions, just to give Dad peace of mind." Martin nodded politely. Lauren continued, "We've been going over options together, and I think we're close to something that really works." Dad shifted in his chair. We are? Lauren smiled at him. Just planning. Nothing scary. She turned to Martin. Maybe you can explain the distribution options again? Martin folded his hands. Of course. Frank, as we discussed, there's no rush. You can maintain your current structure and review annually. Lauren interrupted gently. But if he wanted to simplify, a lump sum, Martin raised a hand. A lump sum is an option, but it has tax implications and requires careful timing. Lauren waved it off. Right, but that's manageable. Maya can explain the technical stuff. She turned to me suddenly, putting a spotlight where she thought I'd shrink. Go ahead, she said. You're good with forms. Every face at the table turned toward me. I didn't stand. I didn't open my folder yet. I can, I said. But first, there's something we should clarify. Lauren smiled, still confident. Sure. I reached into my bag slowly and placed the sealed envelope on the table, directly in front of Dad. This is a complete record of all retirement account access in the last 60 days, I said, including any draft documents created. Lauren's smile faltered, just slightly. Dad frowned. What's this? Just transparency, I said, since decisions are being discussed publicly. Lauren laughed lightly. Maya, this is a family dinner. Yes, I said. That's why it's important. Martin leaned forward. Frank, did you request a distribution draft? Dad looked between us. No. Lauren spoke quickly. It was just a hypothetical, I told you. Planning. I opened my folder and slid one page across the table, not to Lauren, to Martin. This draft was created from an authorized representative account at 11:18 p.m. on November 14th. I said, the metadata lists the creator as L. Rivera. Dad's signature line is blank. The room went very quiet. Lauren's face flushed. That's misleading. I was helping. I placed the next page down. This note is embedded in the file properties. I didn't read it aloud. I let Martin read it himself. His jaw tightened. Lauren reached for the page, but Martin held it. Dad's voice was low. Lauren? She laughed, brittle now. You're all making this dramatic. I was streamlining. Dad hates portals. I nodded once. He does. That's why I've been handling them with his consent. I slid the access log next. Dates, times, locations. You added yourself as an authorized representative without informing him, I said. Mailing preferences were redirected to your email. That's not an accident. Lauren's hands trembled slightly as she clasped them together. I was protecting him. Martin looked at Dad. Frank, did you authorize any of this? Dad shook his head slowly. Lauren turned to me, eyes sharp. You planned this, she said. I met her gaze. No, you did. The last thing I placed on the table was the pension office's written statement. No distribution has been finalized, I said. But this shows intent. Lauren pushed back from the table. This is an ambush. It's a review, I said. No one spoke. Dad stared at the papers, then at Lauren, like he was seeing a version of her he hadn't wanted to admit existed. And that was when Lauren realized she wasn't hosting anymore. She was being witnessed. Lauren stood up first. Her chair scraped the floor louder than it needed to. She picked up her phone, glanced at the screen, then looked around the table like she was recalibrating the room. This is inappropriate, she said. We're supposed to be celebrating, no one answered her. Dad's hands rested flat on the table, fingers spread the way he did when he was steadying himself. He wasn't angry. He looked tired in a deeper way than before. Lauren, he said quietly, why would you do this without telling me? She exhaled sharply, then softened her tone, turning toward him. Because you get overwhelmed. You've said that yourself. I was helping. Maya makes everything formal and scary. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Martin cleared his throat. Helping requires consent, he said. And documentation. Lauren shot him a look. With respect, Martin, you don't understand our family dynamics. I understand fiduciary boundaries, he said calmly. And I understand risk, Mom finally spoke. Lauren, she said, voice unsteady. Why didn't you tell us? Lauren turned to her. Because you would have worried. Dad shook his head once. I'm worried now. That landed harder than anything I could have said. Lauren's posture changed. The polished daughter faded. What remained was someone calculating exits. I didn't take anything, she said quickly. Nothing was finalized. This is being blown out of proportion. You're right, I said. Nothing was finalized. She looked at me sharply. That's why this is a conversation, I continued. Not an accusation. Martin folded the papers back into a neat stack. Frank, I recommend we freeze all online access temporarily and restore sole authorization to you. We should also document this incident. Lauren's voice rose. Incident? That's extreme. Martin didn't flinch. It's standard. Dad nodded slowly. Do it. Lauren stared at him. Dad? I said do it, he repeated. Something in his tone closed a door. Lauren grabbed her bag. Fine, she said, if that's how you want to treat me. She looked around, searching for an ally. There were none. She left the room without another word. The rest of the evening ended quietly, too quietly. People finished their meals. Someone asked for the check. No one made a speech. Dad asked me to drive him home. In the car, he didn't speak for several minutes. When he did, his voice was controlled but rough. She always said you were cold, he said, but you were careful. I kept my eyes on the road. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I know, he said. That's what scares me. The following weeks unfolded without drama, but not without consequence. Martin filed a formal note in Dad's account, documenting unauthorized access. The pension office added a verbal verification step and mailed confirmations only to Dad's address. Lauren's authorization was permanently revoked. Dad asked me to manage his retirement logistics officially. We signed paperwork. We set boundaries in writing. Lauren stopped posting family content. When she did appear online, it was vague. Quotes about betrayal, resilience, being misunderstood, engagement dipped. Extended family reached out to me quietly, not to gossip, to ask if Dad was okay. He was. Lauren tried once more. She emailed Dad, copying me. I was trying to protect you. Maya turned it into a power play. Dad replied himself. I don't need protection that ignores my consent. I need honesty. That was all. They didn't speak for months after that. I didn't celebrate. There was no victory in watching someone dismantle their own credibility. There was only relief in knowing the damage had stopped where it did. Dad retired fully. He started visiting the botanical garden on Tuesdays. He learned the names of plants he'd never noticed before. As for me, he stopped apologizing for asking for help. Lauren and I are polite now, distant, boundaried. We attend the same holidays and speak about neutral things. She no longer jokes about me being the paperwork one. I keep my folders lighter these days, not because I trust more easily, but because I trust myself to notice when something matters. At Dad's next birthday, there was no arch, no speeches, no phones held high, just dinner. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I needed to prove my place at the table. I already had it.